This tutorial is how to draw your correct facial proportions. When you're drawing a face, it's very important to understand how one facial feature relates to the other as far as size and positioning. So the first thing I'm going to draw is a shape for the outside of my head. Understand that the top of your head is a little bit fatter than the bottom of your head. Now it's not easy to get the right shape right at the beginning, so do some very sketchy gestural lines. Until you get it right. Okay, so I have adjusted it. It still might not be perfect. So after you get it the way you like, then you can go back and perfect it a little bit so you know which line you're keeping and which line you're ignoring. But make sure that you get the right shape for a human head. If it's too fat or if it's too long, all these proportions that we're doing aren't going to seem accurate still. So it's important to get this part right to begin with. All right, after you get the shape, then you're going to divide it in half one way, and then you're going to divide it in half the other. Now I can check my dimensions and just make sure they're about accurate. This side is a little bit longer, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to zoom in so we can see a little bit better the next step. All right, so as far as your proportions go, everything is all aligned to the eyes. So if you don't get your eyes right, that means all your proportions are going to be misproportioned. So let's make sure that we get the eyes right. It's hard to get the eyes right at the beginning because it's going to be an odd number. So what we need to pretend is that we can fit 5 equal eyes all the way across. So I'm going to divide, and I'm going to just put these little lines that are pretty light. All the way across. Okay, so now if I were to go and draw in an eye shape in each one of these sections, my eyes should all be equal. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to see what they look like. Now it's very rare that we get this perfect the first time. So if you look, I feel like there's a little bit of a problem going on with this eye and that eye. This eye is a little bit too small and that's a little bit too big. So I'm going to make some adjustments. Not big, just slight adjustments to make that better. So now if I adjust those, it should probably be about good. All right, now I don't need 5 eyes because the human head doesn't have 5 eyes. So I'm going to erase the eyes that I don't need. Again, the 5 eye thing is really just for getting it the right size. So I'm going to draw in a little bit of eye detail. I have to have at least a pupil for future steps. All right, so there I have some eyes. They don't have to be super detailed, but enough for me to place the next things. So my next thing is going to be my nose. Now for my eye line to my chin, I need to divide it in half. All right, so my halfway point, I turn it to the side to kind of look at the halfway point. I feel like I can see it easier that way. So that's where my nose, how far my nose is going to come down. I'm going to draw some guidelines from the corner of my eyes down to that line. So now I know exactly where my nose is going to exist. That's how wide my nose is going to be, so my parentheses for my nose is going to be there. And then I can draw hill, valley, hill. And there's my nose. I'm not going to go into great detail of drawing my nose. I'm just going to make sure that it is placed well and is the right size, okay? So there's my nose. Good. All right, so my next is my mouth. So I'm going to, again, turn it sideways so I can see, and I'm really ignoring the top part. So here I have my nose line and my chin line. I'm going to draw another line dividing that in half. That is not the center of my mouth, just so you know. It is a little bit different. So for this one, from the pupil down, I'm going to draw a line. I'm trying to get it straight. I feel like that's awfully crooked. So I'm going to erase that and I'm going to try again. All right, so this is where my mouth is going to be. Now I'm going to turn it sideways again for dividing. I'm going to divide this box into 3 sections. I'm just going to have little marks. So it's 1, 2, 3. We have it's like the thirds right there. This third right here, right above this line, that is where my lips meet. Okay. So now I know how tall my lips are, and I know exactly where my lips belong, okay? All right, now I can look at my ears. I already have guidelines for my ears. It is my nose line and my eye line. I am not going to go into great lengths making my ears look realistic. I'm just doing this for placement purposes. Now my neck extends from my ears. A lot of people make their necks way too small and skinny. It's going to start at the ear and kind of just drop down right where that mouth line is and kind of come down that way. So start it at the ears and drop it down. All right, so that's the majority of the face. Now it looks kind of crazy because we don't have eyebrows yet. So one way to look at eyebrows is there is this like curve that is made with your nose, and that actually helps with eyebrow placement. So it actually comes up and curves around. So now I know approximately where my eyebrows are. Again, everybody's eyebrows are a little bit different too. Alright. Now the top of my head, we need a hairline. So from the eye line to the top of the head, I'm going to divide it into thirds, approximately. Now this bottom third here I'm going to ignore. That really isn't anything. But this top one is where my hairline is. So depending on what your hair looks like, that's where your hairline is. Now another thing is, remember when you're drawing hair that your hair should come up off of your head. You don't have spray painted hair. There is volume to it. I'm just going to draw somebody with long hair for this one. So that's where your hairline would be, and you would erase, I don't know, we'd have a part or something somewhere. We'd erase this line here so it wouldn't look so crazy. All right, so there is my scary proportion person.